One of them was, his name was Ronald Creakbaum, and he was a corporal, a tail gunner. So you can imagine him in the tail of Mr. Shorty. He went on the first mission of the 323rd Bomb Group from Elscombe, and they were to attack an oil installation in occupied France. Result of flak, which was the anti-aircraft guns firing up at the aircraft, resulted in him being injured. You were particularly vulnerable in the tail of an aircraft. There's not a lot of structure around you to protect you, and you're standing out there behind the wings and the engine and so forth. And he sustained a serious groin injury. So as such, he became the first casualty of the American hospital set up at White Courts in Braintree, Essex, not that many miles away from here, and only about 6 miles away from Elscombe's airfield. He was the first surgical casualty at that airfield, and he met his wife there. She was a nursing officer, Leona Hawkins. He was in the hospital for some time, and they looked after him there. The nurses thought a lot of him, and they gave him a medal made of shrapnel, which he probably thought more of than the Purple Heart that the United States Army Air Force gave him as being a wounded air personnel. He went back to the base hospital, and he was there recuperating, and he went back on missions there. Something else fell out of this, and that is that after that they said, corporals are too low a grade to be flying. We want at least a minimum of a sergeant. So they had technical sergeants and most gunners thereafter, and he was promoted, were technical sergeants or sergeants, and they were raised up in terms of rank. The other thing, of course, is that they stayed in touch. He and Leon stayed in touch despite his postings elsewhere, and they married after the war in America at what Leon called the little church around the corner. Going back to the war experience, he was flying an aircraft called Mission Bell, and Mission Bell was one of these aircraft I come across on the northern route from America. That in itself is quite daunting, because you have to fly from Nova Scotia through Greenland, Iceland, and eventually, if all goes well, you end up at Prestwick, which is now Prestwick in Scotland. The southern route was even more daunting. They had to come down the eastern seaboard of the United States, along Central America, down into Southern America, and cross, aiming roughly for the area around Ascension Island. Some of them needed to refuel at Ascension, some went on to points in Western Africa, and then navigate around Africa and around, of course, Spain, which ostensibly was neutral but had Nazi sympathies, and of course was operated by a dictator who the Germans had put in power anyway. So they went into what is now St Morgan in Cornwall. So that was the southern route. His aircraft, or he rather, had 3 dices with death. The first one was in America when he was training, when his aircraft caught fire. And he had to bow out, and all the crew of 6 had to bow out. He and 2 others survived, the others didn't. So that was his first dice with death. He also became a member of the Caterpillar Club, which is something that the parachute companies, in his case Irving, who produced the parachutes, they give an award to people who have to involuntarily bow out of an aircraft. So there he was, he'd got that a little award before he even came to this country. The second dice with death, of course, was that he was hit when he was on an operational mission with Mission Bell. And the third one, he'd transferred, they switched crews around. You don't stay with the same aircraft all the time. You've got a pilot, a co-pilot, you've got the radio operator, the flight engineer, the 2 guns. You don't stay with the same aircraft all the time, you move around. And in fact, he was moved from Mission Bell to another aircraft. After that, Mission Bell unfortunately went on a mission and she was lost in action. None of the crew survived. So he regards that as his third diced with death, and he survived.